The Cove Bouldering Gym and Cafe opened a couple weeks ago, and I got a chance to sit down with co-owners Steve Ryan and Joel Harvie to talk about this new opportunity for cafe lovers and climbers in St. John's. Here's our interview. All right, so I'm sitting here with Steve Ryan and Joel Harvie, co-owners of The Cove. How's it going, guys?
Awesome, man.
It's going great.
Great. So I'm super excited about the new opening of the Cove Bouldering Gym. For those who don't know, what is a bouldering gym?
Man, a bouldering gym is rock climbing without ropes. Okay, so we have a padded floor, the walls don't go too high, and it's a place to come and hang out. You can come by yourself. In my opinion, probably the best physical activity the human body can do. But long story short, we've been dreaming this up for a long time, and we're really happy to share this with the community.
Wow. So yeah, bring us back. How did this kind of start, and how did you folks decide you wanted to open up your climbing gym?
Well, we have 4 owners, and 3 of us have been diehard climbers for a really long time. So I started climbing in 2010. Daniel started climbing around the same time. Steve shortly thereafter. And, it's just such an infectious activity. It's engaging on so many different levels. It's physical activity, but with all this problem solving and social layering that goes into it in such a unique way. And we were all hooked instantly. And we got in early enough that the sport was growing in popularity, but it was nowhere near what it is now. So in the last 10 to 15 years, the sport's become an Olympic sport. It's boomed. There's like new rock climbing gyms everywhere. It went from like this fringe activity to this thing that just a lot of people do. And, we got to kind of see that happening. And early on, as kind of fans of the sub-style bouldering, we saw bouldering growing in popularity, and we thought it would be foolish not to, consider this as something we can do for a living. So, yeah, it was kind of born from that, and here it is today. We're deep in after the first Olympics, where bouldering was one of the featured sports for climbing in the first Olympics. Yeah, we're loving it.
I'm going to give you the fun version of this story.
All right, let's hear it.
Yeah, the fun version of this origin story is bouldering is very huge outdoors, all right? So like in Newfoundland in particular, we live on an island, so the coast is excellent climbing. We have erratic boulders all the way across the Barrens. I lived in the UK, and that's when I started climbing and moved home and knew nothing about it. Naturally gravitated toward Joel because he was probably the only guy that knew anything about it. And over time, we started road tripping and camping and finding new boulders. We would walk out like 3 hours into the Barrens, clean moss off boulders, camp there for a weekend, and just figure it out. And then one summer, we road tripped all the way across Newfoundland and stopped as many places as we could climbing. And on the way back, Joel says, "I really want to open a bouldering gym." And I was like, "Man, me too." This was in 2016, I think, roughly. And anyway, sketching some stuff on a napkin at like Irving's and gas stations along the way home. And quite literally, we didn't stop talking about it since 2016. And then business plan, rope in Daniel, find investor, and away we go. But it's been a weird, long journey. Yeah.
Wow.
It's probably worth mentioning, too, our third leg here, Daniel, who's not in this interview, kind of was coming up with the idea on his own independently. We all knew each other, but we kind of met together at a certain point. So this is kind of like the merging of 2 different dreams. So
That's amazing. I mean, I feel like it makes sense to just bring everybody in under the same umbrella instead of, two new bouldering gyms in St. John's.
That's right. Yeah. No, I agree. Visions were identical, too. We were like, we want a cafe, and we want a cool place for people to come work, hang out, exercise. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so I'm loving the vibe here. This totally seems like a place where you can mix in coming and studying and then having a little workout afterwards. You got your standard workout gear for training in the back. You got these walls here. Tell us about just all the amenities that you can do here at the gym.
Yeah, well, it's not just a bouldering gym for sure. We wanted to make sure that you didn't need to have a gym membership and a bouldering membership. So we have squat rack, an air bike, free weights, all that kind of stuff, a mirror wall. That's all baked into our little training area we have. There's the bouldering gym, but the other kind of half of the business is our cafe. One big part of the Cove is our weird love for St. John's. We're all townies, diehard townies. We wanted to create a space where the kind of weird social energy that bouldering generates could kind of go and propagate into this other part of the business. So we have a full cafe here as well. There's a part completely separate from the bouldering gym where you don't even need to come in here and boulder. You can come in, and we took the coffee super seriously. There's great coffee, espresso bar. We've got gingerly vegan cookies flying off the shelves here, and we have like Wi-Fi and power and AC. It's a great place to come and get a cup of coffee and just hang out, regardless of whether or not you're climbing. It's great if you're climbing, but even if you're not, you can come in here and hang out. And in this part of St. John's, there's not really a lot of that. It's all kind of really baked downtown, so we're really trying to like revitalize this neighborhood too.
Yeah, it's really cool to see some stuff's popping up here in the West End. We got the urban market just like a stone's throw away. Tell us a little bit about this building, because it seems like there's some cool stuff happening with this building, and the West End is really starting to grow with some of these cool new businesses. Can you tell us a bit about the building?
It was very serendipitous how we found it. So like, we had several locations we scouted pre-pandemic. They got squashed because of pandemic. Finding a piece of real estate, commercial real estate, that met our needs was kind of challenging. And the fact that there's an enormous old factory just sitting in the middle of the city that was unoccupied was an incredible find. So we caught wind that the team from the urban market were expanding and buying this facility, and literally just messaged them instantly, had a meeting. It met the vibe that they wanted. It met the vision of what they wanted to create here. So between the urban market, we're the first phase of development here now, so I think we already have developed synergies between urban market and our climbing gym, but this whole building will be developed over time. So there's a brewery going to be put in that they've already started work on. There's going to be manufacturing units for farmers markets and things like that. And there was soap shops and all kinds of stuff that's going to be like smashed into here. All the infrastructure's here, and now they're starting to really put some time and effort into developing it. So even though we're alone in the building right now, in about 5 years' time, this is going to be a bustling area. Yeah.
That's so great to hear. So the building itself, it used to be a factory. What kind of factory was it?
It was the old Brookfield dairy factory, right? So like where we're in right now was the industrial freezer. It was the fridge where they kept the ice cream and the milk and everything cold. So when we came in here, you had to use your imagination to imagine a bouldering gym in here, because there's all this old equipment and factory stuff and freezers and cables and wires, and we just had to kind of use your mind's eye to strip it all away and say, yeah, this could fly. Yeah, it was cool.
Wow, that's awesome to hear. So, say I'm an absolute newbie. I've never climbed before in my life. What would you recommend?
Oh, there's a bunch of different ways to get started. You can come in here for a coffee and just feel it out if you want. Essentially, you can get started with a 20-minute lesson that's free. You pay for a day pass, and your first visit, the lesson is free. And we just kind of show you the rules and how to fall and how to follow the different patterns. We also have like a class that's an hour-long version of that, which is pretty much just a 2-week membership. And then the lesson is free on top of that. Same thing, we show you around, but we spend some more time with you, work for the first few climbs. But if you're new and you're interested, I think the big thing to take away is that climbing is more accessible than you think it is. Like, some of the climbs here are as easy as climbing a ladder. We have a fourth owner, his name is Bob. Bob is 68, he's pushing 70. Now, Bob is like, Bob's a weapon of a man. He's always sailing his boat across this or on a bike trip with his buddies, but Bob's a new climber. And, he came in here and he was able to do the circuit of our easiest climbs, no problem. He was up and down the walls, 68-year-old dude, never done it before. So, it's not as hard as you think. It's easier than climbing a ladder. It's more stable than climbing a ladder. So if you're not sure about it, I would just pop in, have a coffee, have a chat, or just go for it. We're not going to pressure you to do anything. It's the flooring system is amazing. We paid for the best equipment that money could buy. So it's something you should just try it out.
Wow, it's a good pitch. So you have this wall here that looks like it's being propped up by hydraulics, and it's got these light up stones. Like, tell me about that wall. That looks really cool.
So one of our feature climbing assets here is called a kilter board. So a kilter board is this standardized wall. So if you climb the one here, or the next closest one I think is in Halifax in Seven Bays, a bouldering gym there, it's the same board everywhere you go. So if you're a traveling climber, you can kind of pick up the climbs one place and put them down somewhere else. But you use an app, and it backlights the holds with LEDs, so the different rocks will light up based on which climb you select on the app. And you can choose from over 90,000 climbs. Some of them are easy, some of them are really hard. So it really takes the 50 climbs that we have in the gym that we make, and it adds 95,000 on top of that. So that's pretty cool. The wall is also on hydraulics, so customers can use a little controller, and it goes from 10 degrees down to 60 degrees, which is quite a dramatic angle change, and you can kind of choose which angle you want to climb on. It's been insanely popular so far with our customers, and it's just really cool.
That is super, super cool. One last question about the wall. So, like, Are the holes like stuck in place, or do you ever change those around, or is there room to like switch it up?
Yeah, so with the kilter board, the one we were describing, those holds stay in place, and you use the lights to kind of mix it up. But for the rest of our climbing wall, we rebuild the climbs regularly. So on a weekly basis, we'll take down a section of the gym, take all the rocks off the wall, we'll pressure wash them so they're shiny, and then we'll build brand new climbs. And the new climbs are climbs that no one's seen before. We have a specialized team of, we call them route setters. They come in, they build the new climbs, they test them out, and then people can come in and they always have like a new well of problems to try to figure out what they are. I call them problems because the boulder problems are named kind of like math problems, because they take that kind of process of breaking it down into smaller parts and figuring out how to solve them.
That's super, super cool. So how do folks find you guys, whether it be online, in the physical location, and what are your general hours?
Well, we're brand new. We're like 2 weeks old. So everything is changing all the time, but our website and our Instagram are the best places to get the info. If you want to come in for your first visit, you can book it right online. There's a ton of options to book it, a lot of scheduling options. If you want to like see all of our silliness and get the news updates, our Instagram is a great place. If you're not on Instagram, it's a public account, so if you go on our website, you can still see all the news updates and just click on them and get the advice. But the website's a pretty comprehensive tool.
Amazing. And you're at on St. Michael's Avenue. What's the address?
It's a bit of a weird one. This is the weirdest part of it all. Technically, our address is on Lamarchant Road, which is like smack dab in the middle of the city. It's upper downtown. It's a great location. Our parking lot you can access from Lamarchant Road, but our entrance is on the back of the building, so it's St. Michael's Avenue. If you get confused and you want to come check us out, if you go to our website, I made sure I put a page called Getting Here right at the top. You can click on that. The parking and the access instructions are there.
That's awesome. Any other anything you want to add?
One closing remark that I think needs to be said is, for those listening, if you made it this far, bouldering is more about the community, and if you're nervous about coming, you're going to meet the coolest people you've ever met, have some really interesting conversations, do physical activity at the same time. It's probably been the biggest influence on my life, and I will do it until I'm 80 years old, right? And I do believe, like I said, the best physical activity the human body can do. It's a huge mental health tool for me, and I've met my best friends here, so like, come down, try it out, and I'm sure you'll feel the same way.
Yeah, I would just say, whether you want to be social or not, it's a great activity. And, one of the big motivators wasn't to build this for kids or to build this for athletes. It was to build it for the people that just want to be active but have fun doing it. And maybe the gym isn't working out for you. It's really engaging. It's really good for you. It's an excellent thing to add to kind of a variety of lifestyles. And if you're thinking you want to switch it up and try something new, this is the thing you should try. St. John's, this is the coolest thing going on right now.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, I'm here with Izzy Fahy. She's a climber and a member here at the Cove. So how did you get into climbing?
I was introduced by a friend, but it was originally through a MUN group that hosted a Climb and Prime at Walnuts. So I just got hooked from their social event, and ever since I've been going to the gym every week.
Wow, that's amazing. What is it about climbing that appeals to you?
It's both a very individual and community sport, so it's all about you can go in by yourself and work on your own, but while working with other people in the community to improve yourself. But it's not like your performance is dependent on other people. It's completely individual, but I wouldn't be able to do it without the community, without my friends here. So that's really what appeals to me.
Since the Cove's been open, how have you been enjoying it?
Oh, I've been absolutely loving it. The vibe here is honestly just immaculate. It's air conditioned, so that's really nice in these hot days when you can't really climb outside. I also spend a lot of time climbing outside, but when it's 30 degrees humidity, you can't climb outside because you're just slipping off everything. So it really is really good for that. The cafe and Joel, Daniel, and Steve, they're incredible guys. I've known them all for a number of years now, and I'm just so excited to see this project come together and finally open up, and it's such a welcoming space. I think everyone here has a smile on their face and is just really excited to either just hang out in the cafe, which has a great vibe, or climb on the walls.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time talking with us.
No problem, John. Thanks for having me.
To find out more, head over to covebouldering.com or check them out on Instagram.